Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Let's Talk It Out platform. I'm Alec Lipshos, aka Trey Busy, and you are listening to the fourth installment of the new series, Shine the Light on Toxic Relationships. This series is taught and hosted by published author and certified life coach, Celicia Shan. Celicia, how are you doing today?
Hey, Alec, I am doing great. Thank you for staying consistent with me because I am excited about our episode today.
Excellent. Well, I'm looking forward to it as well. The first three episodes have been so great. Everyone has nothing but good things to say about it. So obviously, you're doing a great job.
Thank you. How
Okay,
are you
so
doing today? I feel like I never asked you.
how I'm doing is usually not that important to people, but um, we are doing great. Yeah, yesterday I got a good interview in with Yaqui Shelley. I haven't done an interview on a platform since March 18th.
Oh, wow.
I took some time off, as I said yesterday, because I wanted to get things going with everybody else and make sure everything else is lined up as well. And also because of COVID-19, the interview process of my podcast made me want to wait and give people time to get more settled into the current reality of things before I want to pull them away to schedule stuff.
Mm-hmm.
So now that I think is people are pretty settled in with the pandemic and having a kind of a routine for the way things are right now I'll be more open to doing interviews on my podcast. But this is not about my podcast. This is your podcast. So shine a light on toxic relationships. You have a question. You ready for
Hmm.
this question?
Yeah, go ahead.
Someone said, "Hey, Coach C, can you talk about how parents slash family members talk to their adult children slash family members? That the adult child slash family member wants to be talked to and respected as an adult." So pretty much what they're asking is, how should someone talk to you as an adult? I mean, and I can say something to it, but I'm gonna let you go ahead and jump right in there because it's your podcast.
Okay, thank Alec. That is a great question. And before we begin, I hope everyone is safe, healthy, and positive out there. Positivity is the true key in maintaining your relationship. So, as we jump in, I love how we are still shining the light on the topic of toxic relationships with our parents because they truly are the root to understanding our relationship dynamics with other people. I would like to rephrase the question though just a little bit so that it could be a little bit clearer for the listeners. And so what I'm sensing is that we want to know how can the adult child family member um, be respected by the parent or the adult family member. So this brings me back to a time when I was working in the corporate world and I decided to go into the office after not being in the office for weeks. So at the time, the firm was restructuring. So in order to go into the office, you will have to hotel or rent a desk for the day because seating was temporary. So depending on your rank, you were able to rent either a regular cubicle desk or you can have an entire office space. So I ended up being able to rent an entire office space. And while I was in the office working, minding my own damn business, this older admin woman came in. She was around my grandmother's age. And she asked me, "Hey, are you allowed to be in this office space?" And I was shocked, like, "Yeah, what do you mean?" And I said it politely. And she insisted on me showing her proof. Let me see how you booked it. Let me pull up the screen. Let me see if you really selected this place because this seat is not this office isn't for you. And then I showed her, I complied. And then another admin around the same age, older woman, walked past rudely and asked me the same questions. So I was extremely offended. Like, what do I look like? I'm not supposed to be sitting here? Like, what's the problem? And I also complied with her. So they went and they looked me up. They noticed whose team I was sitting on. They noticed my position and they came back to apologize professionally out of fear that I wouldn't report them, even though I did. But, anyways, and when thinking back to that, I was livid. Like, I was extremely offended and frozen. But in that moment, I froze up. I could not say a word to truly defend myself because I was raised on strict deference where I had to respect my elders, quote unquote. You can't see my quotes. So, how many times has that happened to you? You were offended by someone older than you and completely disrespected, and you allowed it for the simple fact that they were older, even though they weren't being respectful. I mean, I was literally stuck. It brought me back to my childhood self where I remember not being able to speak up for myself because I was simply a child. And I don't know about you, but some homes, children just don't have the same respect as adults do. So after that moment, I vowed to myself that I would see myself as the adult that I am and demand my respect. And it can be difficult to step into this place of empowerment because a part of you has to die. And you might hear me use this term a lot because it is truly the cycle of transformation, which is ongoing. You can think of it like a snake that is always changing his skin and changing the layers, right? So we are also changing skins, but on a spiritual and mental realm. But even though it isn't physical, it still causes us discomfort. So as we change, the dynamics of our relationship with our parents and family members change as well. Some parents and family members may not be so willing because their title with you holds power. When you say mom, dad, auntie, uncle, older brother, those titles automatically come with some form of power and rank, right? And this may be an uncomfortable process for them as well, but it is definitely needed. So the discomfort we are feeling is the death of the old identity. This identity is our childlike self. The old identity is whatever role they've played in your life. And these identity don't lose its value, but if they are someone who is rigid and only view their place in your life as one way, this may be more painful for them because it evokes growth. And as we know, not everyone want to grow because it is uncomfortable. So if you, your parents, or other family members never discovered other parts of themselves, this may bring them to some wounds that require some attention. We want to be respected as adults, so you have to view yourself like an adult. Now understand, if this causes backlash in a negative way, it is not because of you. It is because of what is coming up for them that they weren't ready to deal with. So again, it is because of what's coming up for them that they weren't ready to deal with. So when we talk about changes in relationships, we are simply the catalyst for each other. If you stand for change, it can be an agreeable transition. If you don't, it can cause a lot of suffering by going against the grain, like wearing shoes that no longer fit. So when we want to be respected from our parents, family members, friends, or whoever, it all comes down to setting healthy boundaries. For some of you who don't know what boundaries are what we use to protect your physical, spiritual, and emotional health. They are the lines you create for yourself to keep you safe. Weak boundaries will cause you to always be a victim to others. And trust me, you do not want to be constantly being a victim to other people or at everyone's disposal. And you will be perceived as too vulnerable. And this can make you a target for those who mean you no good, narcissists, people who are opportunists. But strict boundaries or extremely rigid boundaries can make you seem too closed off. So you have to find that sweet spot. That is what we call healthy boundaries. So in my book, I refer to boundaries as the outline for the qualifications for the important positions we offer individuals in our lives. Everyone in your life holds an important position because you are sharing energy with them. And energy is the most precious thing that you have. So without these boundaries, anyone can fill these positions. And this is what makes underqualified individuals slip through the cracks, causing us long-term damage. So walking around with no boundaries is like walking around with your heart exposed out of your chest for all to touch. Dirty hands that haven't been washed, can come and touch your heart. Now, would you like that? I don't think so. So here are 4 tips on how we can develop healthy boundaries. The first thing is determine your self-worth. If you don't know who you are and what you are worth, how can you tell someone else how to treat you? Your self-worth is your self-worth is a direct link to your self-love. And you can increase your level of self-love through working on your healing. What if your entire life you walked around selling yourself for Nissan prices only to realize that you are a Rolls Royce? Determine what your value is. The second thing is realize you are not for everyone. Those who suffer from chronic people pleasing, and I used to be guilty of this, will learn a painful lesson for setting healthy boundaries. So, for not setting healthy boundaries, actually. So, some folks will be offended when you start establishing boundaries for yourself and will leave. But that's like the Rolls Royce. Not everyone can afford its luxury. You are luxury. It gets tricky because we want to hold on to some family members for the sake of them being family members. But remember that people who respect your boundaries respect you. Boundaries help you weed out individuals who don't respect you. The third thing is state your boundaries when they are being crossed. If they don't know what they are, then they're not going to be aware of not crossing them. So if that old nickname that you were once called in the family still makes you uncomfortable, say that. Hey, auntie, I really don't like being called that. It makes me feel XYZ. Or hey, mom, I don't like it when you come to my house without letting me know. It makes me feel disrespected. State your boundaries and state how it makes you feel when they are crossed. Communicating this way to them shows a healthy person that the issue isn't about them, it's about you. Keyword healthy. If they swing the issue back to themselves, they have some rooted issues that they still need to deal with that has nothing to do with you. And the fourth thing is maintain your boundaries. Your boundaries are as strong as you are. If you let them slide one time, you are telling the other person you don't take yourself seriously. You let that nickname slide sometimes. You still allow your mom to pop up at your home unexpectedly sometimes. Will get you nowhere. You have to be consistent. Many times, toxic relationships are developed because we let our boundaries slip. So remember, boundaries are for you, not the other person. They can get tricky sometimes when dealing with family members, but no one said that it would be easy. Strong boundaries are what determines a strong and healthy adult. And to be respected as an adult, we have to develop these boundaries. It shows that we took the time to understand ourselves and meet those needs. If your boundaries are being crossed, that person doesn't respect you or themselves. So you can always choose to not return to the environment that caused your boundaries to be crossed. This may mean you might visit your mom less, or your auntie, or your cousin, or you might talk on the phone less to the people that cross your boundaries. Whatever it looks like for you to keep yourself safe, do what you have to do because our boundaries protect us like a fence around a house. So if you are having trouble respecting yourself and gaining respect from your elders, do some introspection and see how you can create strong, healthy boundaries to protect yourself. And reach out to me if you would like help developing these healthy boundaries. And as we close out, once again, if you haven't already done so, my book is on Amazon. At the end of the day, it's me, Overcoming the Addiction to Toxic Relationships. You can follow me on Instagram at Continued Expansion. Send me those questions. I love that these questions are coming in. At this point, I have a waiting list. So I have a list of questions. And as you guys send them in, I'm trying to tie them together. Stay on the topic of parenting right now until we start moving on to different dynamics of relationships. And if you would like one-on-one coaching, contact me via Instagram. I'm doing a COVID deal, 30 for 30. That's 30 minutes for $30. And if you have any questions, just feel free to send them in. That's all I have for you today, and I'll see you in the next one. Peace.